So we'll get started. So first things first, at a high level overview for this meeting, as I said, we will talk about how do you become a mortgage agent in general, and that will include every other information about how do you get how do you pass the exam, what is the how does the licensing look like, what is the annual or monthly cost which you have to incur once you become an agent, and then what are the career growth potentials. Okay, so first things first, we all know that being a mortgage agent is a very rewarding career. For people who move to Canada, like most of us, we are new immigrants. We always look around in our circle and see we have realtors, we have mortgage agents, we have insurance agents, and most of the people you might know, they are doing very well. So naturally, we want to become a self-employed. Everybody desires that. And then we also see that becoming a mortgage agent or real estate agent is probably much easier as compared to getting any other degree. So it becomes very lucrative, and people get very excited to become a mortgage agent or real estate agent in Canada. So like I said, this meeting, we will talk about how you can pursue a career as a mortgage agent. To begin with, normally people get excited when they see people in their network become a mortgage agent, and if they're doing very well, it becomes extra lucrative. So to start with, a natural interest is required, that you want to know more about being a mortgage agent. You talk to people in your network, and then you get an idea of how to become a mortgage agent, what are the earning potential, and you talk to different industry professionals, you attend webinars such as this one, and then you slowly start to get an idea of how you can become a mortgage agent. Once you have the basic information, you need to register with with one of the few options, or service providers or institutions who provide you the course. The most common ones are REMIC, MPC. I personally used REMIC, which is very like the service is very good. What they do is they charge you a fees upfront of $500-600, and then they provide you with study material, which is like an ebook, 500-600 pages, has 20-25 chapters. And depending on your speed or your dedication or passion or the time you have at your availability, people can complete the course in literally 2 to 3 weeks. Or some people just do it very slowly, or they do not have the right background, so everything is very new to them, so they take up to 4 to 6 months as well. It's completely your choice. These service providers, they also have some sort of classroom training programs where they give you a full course online or in person for 30-40 hours, and then you can complete the entire course very quickly. Or someone like me, who had a good flavor of the real estate industry and mortgage already before I wanted to become a mortgage agent, so I just took the ebook, and over the next 2-3 weeks I studied everything on my own. And then of course, wherever you get stuck, you can do your own research, and there's a lot of information available online to bring you up to speed. So this was me who used REMIC, and then I did it on my own. But like I said, you have courses which they are experts who would, or they are trainers who would provide you classroom or online training for a week, and then you can complete everything under their guidance. And not to forget, the mortgage agent industry, or the mortgage industry, is regulated by FSRA, Financial Services Regulatory Authority. And all these courses are approved by FSRA. So if a random person comes and tell you that I can train you, yes, they can teach you, but you cannot appear for an exam unless you register or complete the required course, which is approved by FSRA. Any questions on this slide?
I think we have it.
Thank you. Okay, so once you register for the course, you study, and then through that service provider, you are also able to complete your exam. Now you have the certificate in hand. The next 2 steps are to apply for mortgage agent license, and then also join a mortgage brokerage. Interestingly, or realistically, both of these goes hand in hand. Now, first we look for, because you cannot apply for a license on your own, it's actually the brokerage who will apply for the license on your behalf. So that's the standard process. So step 3 and 4 here in the screen, they go hand in hand. What you'll do is through your network, through your knowledge, or through big brands, you can reach out to multiple brokerages, conduct an interview, ask what is their pay style, what is the commission structure, what is the learning program, what are the support services which they provide, how big is their team, what are the additional services they can provide. And once you interview a few brokerages and hone in on the one which you like, that's when you submit them all the documents. And then the brokerage on your behalf will submit all the documents to FSRA. And then within 2 or 3 weeks, you would get your license, and then you are ready to do the business. Any questions here?
All good.
Thank you. Okay, so in terms of educational requirements, like I said, there are a few service providers which FSRA uses. FSRA has approved, and the most commonly used is REMIC, the second one on the list here. And then also Mortgage Professionals Canada, MPC is very, very common. And then Ontario Mortgage Academy is also something which is new and upcoming and getting very common amongst people. I personally used REMIC. And like I said, they provide you with an ebook, which has 24 chapters and covers a lot of different topics, like what is the role of a mortgage agent? How do you start a business? How do you convert clients? What are the things you have to do when a client approaches you? Different basic concepts of mortgages, different ratios, how are debts calculated? How do you reach out to a lender? And then, of course, towards the end, you have things like ethics and compliance, which is very, very important. So there are different sort of topics. And once you complete all of them, they also have a lot of MCQs and practice exams. And once you're comfortable, you set up your exam with the FSRA authority. And then once you pass, you are able to move on to the next step. Okay, so as I already mentioned in the previous slides, you have to pass the course exam. We are covering a little bit more in detail. So the format is MCQ, and there are, I think, 50 questions. The passing percentage is 30 questions, which is 60%. And like the course material is very, very straightforward, and it covers everything. And at the end of each chapter, you have both practice tests, as well as they give you like a small case study on the website for REMIC. I use REMIC, so I can tell you how they approach. So at the end of every chapter, you have certain questions which you have to complete. Then only you can move on to the next chapter. And then they also give you certain case studies, and it's like an online virtual thing where all of them are collectively answering things. You have study partners, and you see responses from other people. So you get to learn a lot, and the practical aspect always helps. And then you keep on doing it for all of the chapters. And then towards the end, not only have you gone through the chapters, but you have also practiced a lot of questions. And then even before you set up your exam, there are 3 or 4 questions sets where you can practice as if you are doing a real exam. And then once you are done, you feel confident, then you set up your exam. Normally, the fee structure is $500 to $600, and the examination fee is around $100, which is already included. But if someone is not able to clear in their first attempt, then they have to pay an additional fees of $100-ish to appear for the exam again. Any questions?
Good.
Okay, so when you're completed with the exam and you have got your certificate, the results are published in 2 to 3 days. So once you have got your completion certificate, you are ready to apply for the license. You finalize the brokerage, and once you both are comfortable with each other and you agree on the certain terms and conditions, then the brokerage applies for the licensing on your behalf, which is done on the FSRA portal. And the fees is $860-ish every year. And then for the first year, they charge additional $100 for registration. So you're looking at a fees of $950, $960. There are other costs to keep in mind, which I'll cover in one of the different slides. And like I said before, once you submit your application, it takes FSRA 2 to 3 weeks. It depends on what time of the year you submit your application, because April and March month are renewal months for them. So if someone submits an application at that point in time, they take a very long time to provide you an approval. But any other regular months, 2 to 3 weeks is very, very common. Okay, join a brokerage. This is very, very important. Like I said, you cannot apply for a license before joining a brokerage or before finalizing a brokerage. And the brokerage, it has to be one which is licensed under FSRA. So brokerages have a different license number. You can look up all the licensed mortgage agents or brokers or brokerages on FSRA website. And then there are various things which you discuss with a broker, like the principal broker, where you talk about the commission split. Different brokerages have different style of commission split. Some people, they start with 50-50 because in the initial few deals, they have to train you how to complete a transaction. So they give you a lesser portion because they have to spend more time on you. And then once you are a little bit more expert, they keep increasing the split. And then at some point in time, the max is 80-20 or 85-15 or even 90-10. I mean, it fluctuates across different brokerages. They all have different styles. So you gotta choose the one which suits you the best. And of course, when you talk to multiple brokerages, when you interview them, then you get an idea of what are the different options available from different brokerages, and then you choose the one which you like. For example, if you join a brokerage which is a small brokerage, like it's not a big brand, then highly likely their mentorship program, their training program, their advertisement won't be as refined as once you join a big brokerage, because they already have multiple sub brokerages and they have thousands of agents, so they already have a structure for everything. So these are the things which one needs to keep in mind. And of course, I'm happy to answer any more generic questions towards the end of the slide. Okay, as we briefly touched upon the annual cost of licensing and continuing your license. So to start with, you pay that $100 extra as registration, but the annual fees is $862. Of course, it keeps growing by $20-$30 every year in order to account for inflation. But for this year, we had to pay $862. So that's the one which you pay for renewal fees. And then similar to our CA and CPA degrees, we also have to do some sort of continuing education programs. So there are multiple options available, and you'll get all of that through FSRA on a regular basis, and that could cost anywhere between $200-$300 on an annual basis. Besides these two, you also have brokerages fees. Now, as I briefly mentioned, there could be different commission splits. In addition to the commission split, there could be also monthly desk fees. So there are a lot of agents who are silent. They just get a license for certain reasons, but they don't do business. And in order to hire such agents, the brokerage has to incur certain costs, but they're not able to make any money out of those agents. So what they do is they also have a program for desk fees. So they charge $100, $150, $200 every month. So that is fixed for all the agents, irrespective of the volume which you conduct. So you need to account for desk fees. Again, some brokerages might not have any desk fees at all, and some of them might have 200, 300 per month. And then there's another very important thing for errors and omissions. So you have to get an E&O insurance, which is absolutely mandatory for all agents. And again, you don't have to get it individually for you. It's the brokerage which gets it for the entire brokerage, and they split the cost across all agents. So you're looking at anything between $500 to $700, $800 on an annual basis. In addition to this, there could be additional cost which you might have. It's not mandatory. You have to incur for advertisement and all. So depending on what kind of marketing strategies you go through, you'll have to bear additional cost for that. Any questions here?
All good. Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Once you are a successful mortgage agent for some time, there are certain more advanced opportunities available for all mortgage agents. Recently, it's just extra information I'm providing, may not be relevant for now, but last year, FSRA also broke down a mortgage agent license into two parts. Now there's level 1 and level 2. You can only become a level 2 after you have been a level 1 for 1 year, and then you have to go through an additional exam. And then difference between those two is just some extra things which you can do, especially like private mortgages and all. For that, mortgage agent level 2 is mandatory. And once you have been a mortgage agent for two plus years, you can also become a mortgage broker. Mortgage broker has again different licensing requirements. You have to take additional courses and tests, and then you, at some point, if you want to open your own brokerage, then there's always a principal broker for every brokerage, and it has to be a mortgage broker. So if you want to advance your career options in as a mortgage agent and take it to the next level, then mortgage broker is one of the most commonly things done by people. Besides, there are a lot of mortgage agents in different capacities. Generally, people start with residential mortgages, but over the course of time, people try to get an expertise in different areas. And the most common ones are, some people want to go purely into commercial. Commercial is a big game altogether, and then of course the transaction volume is high, so earning potential is also very high. But at the same time, it's much more complex than a residential one. So commercial lending is one thing. Reverse mortgage is a very common product in Canada, where people aged above 55 years, who are essentially retired, anyone 60, 65, 70 years, they do not have enough cash in hand, but they have a paid off house. So they can leverage that house and get some mortgage. And then you don't have to pay monthly payments. You don't have to pay any interest on a monthly basis. It just keeps accumulated. And the moment that person dies or moves into a old age home, that's when the entire amount is due. So if a person dies after taking a reverse mortgage, the bank sells their home on their behalf, and then take the money which was lent, and then rest of the money goes to their estate. And then of course, one very common area in mortgage industry is private mortgages. For anyone who cannot go to a lender, a bank, or a prime lender, or a subprime lender, then private mortgages is very common. And there are a lot of different scenarios where people are forced to go to a private mortgage, and it's a big industry, sub-industry on its own. And a lot of people, they just do private mortgages because, again, it has different potentials, not just earning, but it is a different ballgame altogether. And a lot of people like that, so they just focus on private lending. Okay, it's very common. We keep getting asked commonly, how do we build a career? How do we become successful? I know there are a lot of different skill sets required in order to become successful, but one of the things is you join a good brokerage. There are a lot of different brokerages out there. I know brokerages where there are only 2-3 agents, and then I know brokerages where there are 200, 300, 500 agents. It depends on what are you looking for in a certain brokerage, and it's very important to have a good mentor. If you have a good mentor in the brokerage, not necessarily the principal broker or the owner of the brokerage, but some brokerages have a team concept where you are assigned to a team leader who would be a mentor. If you get a good mentor, then your life becomes so much easier, because you are already a newcomer to this country probably, and you're starting a new career. But if you rely on someone who's a mentor, who has been in this country, who has seen the ups and downs of Canadian real estate market, and then also knows how to convert clients, what are the challenges you may face, how to juggle between different lenders, how to build relationship with different lenders as well as clients, those kind of practical experiences is very important. So if you get a good mentor, honestly, your life becomes so much easier, and you're able to build a better career. And of course, second most important thing is to build your own network, because even though you have someone who is a good mentor, but you need to get your own business. Nobody is going to get you business. There are brokerages who advertise that, oh, we'll get you leads, but the reality is you have to get your own leads. You have to bring your own business, and in order to do that, you have to build a good network. And it could be through collaborations with different people in different industries. Most common ones are realtors and lawyers and financial planners and investors and all. If you have good connections with lawyers, it depends. A client, when they want to purchase a house, they could either start with a mortgage agent, or they could start with a real estate agent. If they start with a real estate agent, generally speaking, the real estate agent would ask them to talk to a mortgage agent, and they would say, hey, I have these people in my connections or network, you should talk to them. So if you have good connections with different real estate agents, chances are you will get lot of volumes or referrals from these agents. And similarly, there are real estate lawyers and financial planners. In addition to the two things which we said, is very important is to use the right marketing strategies. Social media, Instagram, Facebook is very important these days, and a lot of people have built a lot of business just through social media, and there's no harm exploring different strategies. each people have their own style of strategies. Some people still resort to the old school marketing, while a lot of people understand that today's young generation is more excited about Instagram Reels or Facebook messages and all. So they try to do their own style, while some people still have the old school, and their client base is people from old generation. So they use their own strategy. So it's important you develop your own strategy, the one which works out best for you, especially depending on your client base, because like I said, each person, each agent has their own different client base. And very important is to also develop a professional website, because when you get a referral from someone, or when someone sees your name, they're going to go into your social media first, and every social media profile or website would give them a picture, and then they get a certain vibe. People use lot of reviews, detailed reviews of clients they have helped in the past, and depending on the type of review and depending on the information which you provide on your social media profile or website is something which attracts people. So it's very, very important. And then, of course, continuing education. Then, I mean, needless to say that it's one of the most important items to keep you successful in the market, is because there's so many changes happening. All of a sudden, you see government announcing certain changes, then lenders coming up with different policies. So if you're not abreast of all the developments, you're not aware of what's the trend going on in the market, then chances are your business will go down. So it's very important to attend different industry events. Different lenders have different events all the time. The brokerages usually have their own training programs, and then there are many other events you can always go register, and it also helps you in networking with other people in the same industry, as well as increase your education. Any questions?
All good.
Okay, this is just additional information, might not be very relevant, but there are certain situations where people, they are licensed, but for any personal family health reasons, they have to take a break. So you can actually pause your license for a certain time, and then your license will be inactive, which means you cannot do business at that time. And it's illegal to do a business if your license is inactive. But if you are restarting after a break, then you again need to reach out to your brokerage and FSRA to update your license. They will change it back to active, and then you do the rest of the things which we have already discussed. Go back to your network, start connecting again, let them know that you are back in the market. Talk to lenders to refresh your knowledge of the changes which has been happening in the past few months, years, and then you start killing the market. There are some links to additional resources. The main website for FSRA, where you will have all sorts of different information for FSRA, which is much more than mortgage agent as well. And then MPC, it's one of the approved organizations or institutions by FSRA, where you can register with them and complete your licensing course. That's all from my side. I think I plan to spend 30 minutes, and I think I'm on time.
Yeah.
I'm open to questions now. Any generic questions on any of the slides, or any other questions you may have, I'm happy to answer.
In case anyone has any questions, they just unmute themselves. I think you have already explained everything in a lot more detail.
Okay,
You have
silence
been
is
awesome.
gold.
Awesome.
Silence is gold.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone for being
Thank you.
patient listener. If at all, even after this, if you have any questions, you want to become a mortgage agent, you want to understand, you need references or brokerages, or if you have any other questions with regards to mortgage in general, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to share my thoughts and learnings.
Thank you all participants. Thanks for joining in today. Thanks, Gurpreet. You have been awesome. You have been a very active participant, a very active member of the IndoCanada professionals.